All right, with Brown Sugar back on the road, we can give the 47 a much-deserved shop day. Some of the things we need to do to the 47, I don't know if you guys remember in the video where we did the Sunshine Coast Tour when I smashed the pitman arm on that big pothole. The steering has always, it's never been right since then, and it's kind of been getting worse and worse to the point that now at like 45 miles an hour, I start to get like a death wobble. So we're going to look into that to see what that's all about. Also, all the swap meets we've been going to, we got all these excursions. I can't pronounce it. I know I've always called them just the window crank things, and in one of the last videos, someone was like, they're actually called excursions, and I know that's what they're called. I just can't pronounce it properly. So anyways, the little window crank excursion dealios, we've got a bunch of those that can go on. We got the Stuart Warner gauge that I got from Jeremy Mang a while ago. It can go in to complete that. My friend Rob that used to own this car quite a while ago, he had some parts for it kicking around, so we got those. The little dash plastic for the speedometer side, mine's got a bad crack in it right there, so we've got this guy that we can clean up and paint and install, as well as these cowl mirrors. I got these from Rob as well. I don't know if he bought them for this car when he used to own it, but he had them, so we got those to go on. They're like the most useless mirror ever, at least the passenger side is, because where it goes right there, you can't actually see the mirror while you're in the car. I don't know how these things caught on, but they did. And I am missing this piece of stainless. So even if it is a useless mirror, at least it fills that. A lot of people bug me about the stainless on this car because none of it is on. I have all the stainless for it, including the rocker pieces, all the fender pieces, all the way around. I've got multiples of these, the hood stainless on the other side, all the grill ones. I got most of that from my friend Ross Galitsky when I bought this car off of him. He had those. I haven't put them on yet because one, I just haven't got around to it yet, and two, I know everybody loves patina, but I really want to spray this car. I think it deserves, the body is so nice on it, it kind of deserves to have, it doesn't need show car paint, but it can do better than this. It just reminds me of like a dull faded sidewalk, this washed out gray. So yeah, I want to spray it, and I don't want to put the stainless on and then have to take it off again, even though I guess we're kind of going to be doing that with the mirrors, but they're only 2 bolts, it'll be fine. So also, roof rack we don't need anymore because Brown Sugar's back on the road. And the last thing I want to do, I highly doubt we'll get all this stuff done, but if we could get half of it done, that would be cool. I also really need to clean the inside out of this thing. It's so gross inside from all the last couple road trips we went on. And when we went and picked up the fenders for Brown Sugar at Rick Trenton's place, Doris, our dog, she was just filthy when she got in the car. So we got to clean that out. But we'll start with jacking the front end up. I've already got it driven up on 2x4s here so that we can get the jack under it. And we'll jack it up and look into that steering. Okay, well I think I just found the steering box death wobble problem. Check this out right here where these bolts are, where the steering box bolts on. That's pretty cool, huh? So I bet if we tighten these bolts up, our death wobble will go away. Just finished tightening up that steering box. And you know, while I was tightening up, I was thinking the last couple times I drove this car, there was a few times shifting from first to second or second back down to first that the linkage would jam up, which I know is fairly common on 3 in the Tree cars, but it's never really happened before on this one. So I was thinking about it while I was tightening that up, and it totally makes sense why it would happen, because the 3 in the Tree linkage is attached to the steering column, and if the whole steering column was flopping around and moving up and down and stuff, like, of course that stuff would jam up. So anyways, steering box is tight now, so we can move on to other things. Moving along, we're going to try to plan like 2 steps ahead or 5 steps, 10 steps ahead, whatever you want to call it, and move on to these guys, but we're not going to put these on yet. We're going to paint them first because the paint's got to dry. When I spray this stuff, this is just plastic, I think. I don't know. Do they have plastic in the 40s? I don't know. It's kind of like a plastic, I guess. People always call them dash plastics. We're going to paint it with this Sim color coat. This is, they call it super white, but it's much like an off-white, like a Wimbledon white. And this is like a plastic and vinyl dye, as they call it. It's just spray paint for plastic. That's what, everything that's white in the car right now is already painted with this stuff. This stuff's great. You can paint vinyl seats with it, and it holds up nice. So we're going to sand that, just because it's got a little bit of texture on it. Sand that, spray it. Then while it's drying, we can move on to the gauges. Now these gauges don't have lights in them for some reason, but went and saw Rick again at Bumper to Bumper, and he's got these little guys, which take just a regular bulb, and they fit nice and snug in there. So we're going to use those. We got a couple of those because the other gauge doesn't have any either. The excrusions, Shannon soaked them in some deep creep yesterday because there's like spring loaded, and they were very stiff. This one's come back really good. This one's pretty good. It's still a little stiff. These ones here, I think, are reproduction. You can tell because they look really nice and they barely move at all, which gives indication that they're new because they don't work properly. This one is currently stuck half down, half up. So yeah, we'll get these guys all working properly and then paint them with this as well, so it matches. Pretty straightforward. Just going to use some 320 sandpaper and make it nice and smooth. I don't know if you can see in the camera here the little like rough texture that's on there, just from the plastic deteriorating, I guess. We're going to try to sand that out. Okay, I'm going to spray the backside first, just to get it like on the backside, I guess, and then we can flip it over and do the important side. Of course, as I start to do this, the wind picks up, which is pretty common for, I don't know why it's always windy right here, especially when I'm painting. Most of these are pretty good. That one's still a little stiff. That one's great. That one's great. Great. That one still sucks. And that one still sucks. This one's completely flat. I'm going to paint them all, even though I don't need all of them, just in case we're putting them together. If one gets scratched or if one decides it's going to be really stubborn, we can just throw it away and use one of the other ones. The only reason these are spring-loaded, or the only time it's important, I guess, is when you're putting them together. And what it does is, as you can see on this window crank here, we got this little hole right there. So when you put this on, you have to slide this on the panel, compress that, slide this in, put a little roll pin through there, and then when you let it go, it springs forward and covers the roll pin. They are a huge pain in the ass. I might not even put these on, to be honest. Like, we might spend all this time cleaning and painting them and making them work, and they're such a pain in the ass, and I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. We're not going to use them. Hopefully not. Hopefully that works out, but that is a possibility. I don't care that much. Okay, I'm going to clean them out with brake clean, because they are still soaked in penetrating oil right now. Clean them with brake clean to get all that out, give them a quick scuff, and we'll paint them. A good little trick, if you're not sure if you've got these clean enough, like to get all the penetrating oil and stuff off, when you're masking them like this, if your tape doesn't stick, they're not clean enough. These ones, the tape is sticking pretty good, so that brake clean worked okay. I'm going to mask them first, just so that I don't scratch up. Not that it matters, these are pretty scratched already. But if I wanted to get super carried away, I could take these right apart, polish all that, because it's stainless, polish it up real nice, but nobody's got time for that. For those curious, Shannon and I took brown sugar to a little estate sale out in the country this morning and then did a dump run with it. Man, I'm so happy that I did that Cummins swap. It runs and drives so good. Very pleased. 10 out of 10. It was a lot of work. There was a few times in the middle of it where I was like, man, what did I get myself into? Should have just left it alone. But I'm really glad I did it. Restoring cars must be so much fun, they say. Yeah. Glamorous, isn't it? Woo! Cool. Just got to do that 6 more times. Well, those turned out pretty good. I kind of really want to use them now. I feel like they're so nice that I can't not use them. You know, it's really the little details in these cars that make them so cool. So we're going to use them. Okay, the interior is considerably less disgusting right now. This vinyl, this is Naugahyde English Pub tuck and roll that I sewed up for this. And I really like it, not only because like it has that like vintage look to it, but also because it's so low maintenance. It's so easy to clean. Yeah, we take our dog everywhere with us, and I mean, she does gross things. She's a dog. And it's just like nothing at all to clean up after her. Which I like, because I could never not bring Doris with us. I feel bad for the dogs that don't get to go on car rides because they don't want to like dirty up their nice interior. Personally, I would much rather have a gross, old, crusty interior and a happy dog than a nice interior and a dog that's sad and lonely at home. Bad news. The Stewart Warner volt gauge that I got from Jeremy a couple months ago that we were just about to put in, I decided to test it first. I just hooked up a little jumper wire to the battery here, and let me get somewhere where you can see here. Okay, so I got the grounded out, and I'm going to attach power to the power side now, and it just pegs the gauge right out, way past 16. It should be at like 12 and a half, 13 volts right now with the car not running. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know enough about gauges to know why it does that. But I do know it's definitely a bummer because I was really stoked on having like the full matching set. This gauge matches the other ones and is the only one I was missing. And because I've got this power gen here by Power Master, and it's actually a 100 amp alternator, even though it looks like a generator. The issue with generators, or I should say with alternators, is if I'm just running a generator, I can run an amp meter, no problem, which is kind of more period correct with this. Alternators, however, put out way more amperage than an amp meter can handle, and they'll catch on fire. So I needed a voltmeter. Finding a voltmeter from this era was really difficult. I was pretty stoked when I found out that Jeremy had this. So, I don't know. We'll probably still put it in. I just won't hook it up because, I mean, even though it's kind of cheesy having a gauge in there that doesn't work, having a gauge filling that hole is still cooler than just having an empty hole. So, we'll put it in. Why not? All right, we got the light socket in. So we'll slide that through like so. And then put our little bracket on from the back side here. Hopefully you can still see with me laying all super awkward in here. I'm just going to slide right down. Okay. A little clamp just goes on the back to hold it in there. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Okay, tighten those guys up. Make sure it's straight, which it definitely is not. And we'll tighten it up and then hook up the wires for the lights. Okay, just hooking the ground up right now. I just took the ground from all the lights and hooked them together. I'm just going to tuck them underneath. There's a little sheet metal screw here holding this gauge panel in. Just going to tuck it up in there. Tighten that up. And we should have groundage. Now we just got to take the power wire and hook it up to the dash lights. So sometimes when I hook up these amp gauges, I kind of cheat a little bit. And like when you hook up not an amp gauge, a volt gauge. When you hook up a volt gauge, you got a keyed power wire and a ground wire. And sometimes I will hook all the dash lights up to that key power wire just for it's less wiring. The difference that makes is that just means when you turn your key on, your lights will come on, as opposed to if you wire it up to the rest of your dash lights, where you pull your headlight switch out and then these lights come on. For me, it doesn't, I'm fine with these lights being on all the time. It makes no difference to me. However, because we're not actually hooking this amp gauge up because it's broken and there's already a dash wire right here, dash light wire for the clock, we'll probably just splice into that one and then it'll just work on the headlight switch like it's supposed to. Cool. All right, we're going to do the dash plastic next. Right here, I don't know if you can see on the camera. I'll zoom in a moment. That's where this one is broken. So hey, look at that. They have like a little kerchunk right in the same spot. Cool. Continuity. Anyways, this gauge panel just screws on from the back side with a bunch of screws here. So basically, we're just going to crawl underneath the dash again and unscrew this from the back side, pop that one off, put this new one on, and then gently, keyword gently, screw it back on. There we go. That worked out pretty good. I'm happy with that. It looks a lot better than this one did. If anybody needs this one, because even though it's broken, I don't want to throw it in the garbage. But if anybody needs it, if you buy a shirt off my website, lgspeedcustom.com, and say that you want this, you can have it. I will ship it to you with the shirt. How's that for the worst shirt plug ever, huh? Here, buy some garbage and I'll give you a shirt. Or if you just want a shirt in general, lgspeedcustom.com. That's where I've got a whole bunch of shirts, including this one. That's my old Thunderbird that I sold when I decided to build this car. Cool. All right. Moving along. All right, I'm going to do the mirrors next because I am avoiding these guys because I don't want to do them right now. Anything to avoid those. So we're going to move on to the mirrors. I just took them all out of the boxes. Got 2 mirrors. We got 2 gaskets. But we only got 1 bag of hardware. One of the boxes was missing it. Where's my hardware, Rob? I paid good money for these. I want my hardware. I think we can do okay without them, though. So there is 2 studs in here. I think if we put 1 stud in each mirror, I think it's the rearward one, the one closest to the back of the car. If we put a stud in there, this front one here, there should be enough room that we can actually get a machine screw in from the other side without too much difficulty. So even though Rob kept the hardware out of one of the boxes, I think we're going to be okay. We can still make this work. Found some little stainless machine screws that fit in there. Now on the box this says chrome arm with stainless head, which I'm assuming means that this is chrome and this is stainless. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize in here because for some reason, and I don't know why because I didn't pay attention in science class, but stainless and stainless, like if you take a stainless bolt and thread it into, say if this arm really was stainless, it gulls up and seizes. I don't know why it does that, but it does. Something to do with sciencing. So just to be on the safe side, even though I'm pretty sure this is just chrome, we're going to put some anti-seize on there. This side, you know what, we might as well put some on there anyways. Why not? Even though this is just regular galvanized or cadmium plated, I don't know. Regular bolt material. Okay, I think we're ready to go. This would be probably much easier without the door in the way. Actually, this might be a 2-person job. Oh, the door will hold it. Look at that. Cool. Okay, put the nut through from, yeah, I'll put the nut on first, which I left on the table. Okay, this is a very difficult piece to put on by yourself when you're missing the other stud. Probably should have got Shannon to come and help, but we made it work. Okay, I'll tighten this guy up and then go to the other side. We persevered and we won. It's on there. It actually does look pretty good, I have to admit. As much as I was hating on these mirrors for being ridiculous, it looks cool. I mean, you can't see out of it, but it looks cool. Sitting in the driver's seat, you can't even see the mirror. There it is. Maybe if we go this way. Yeah, if you like lean way far forward, you can see it. The driver's side mirror actually does work. You can see pretty good out of it. I also have this little peep mirror up here. I don't know if I'll keep that or not. I guess I don't know, we'll figure that out, maybe. But yeah, this one, win. That one, fail. Gonna lower this back on the ground and take the roof rack off. I gotta lower this on 2x4s because it's so low that I can't get the jack underneath the cross member or the axle to lift it up. It's pretty straightforward to take this thing off. You just loosen these wing nuts off, which loosens this clamp off. And then when the clamp's loosened off, come on, it should just, come on. There we go. Just pulls out there. Considerably easier to do with two hands. There we go. Shannon's come down and is going to assist me in putting these guys on. Okay, so if I push in and you run the handle and the roll pin, is it lined up? You might have to before you put the pin in. Oh, there we go. Okay, just push it a little bit further. Okay. 1 down. 5 to go. I hope whoever designed this got fired. There we go. Okay. Well, the good news is we got all 4 front ones on. They worked out really nice. They were actually pretty easy to put on. I mean, they weren't super easy, but they were considerably easier than the back ones, which we did not get on. Those are a fail. I think the 2 things that are hindering the back is this piping is kind of in the way. So it doesn't give us enough room to compress in there and get the pin. And the other big thing that's hindering it is I am absolutely starving. I am so hungry and I get really hangry. So we decided to pause on these. Maybe we'll do them another day. I was thinking maybe to compensate for the piping, I could take cut like a groove in there, carve a groove in to compensate for the piping. But I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Right now, I need a cheeseburger so bad. So we're going to go get cheeseburgers, and then we're going to test drive the 47. Jim and Vanessa are coming over, and we're going to drive this thing out to Western Speedway to check out the Strawberry Cup. We just hit 45 miles an hour, which is when the steering used to shake, and it seems to be good now. So If your steering's shaking, tighten your steering box up. Make sure it's not falling off. Everything looks okay though. Well fed, happy. We're coming up to Langford right now, where Western Speedway is. So behind me here is Western Speedway, which is one of Canada's oldest racetracks. It's been open since 1954. And as you saw from when we were pulling in here, it's slated for demolition. This is the last season they're having, unfortunately. And then it's all getting torn down and turned into condos.
Lights are out on turn number 4. Running out onto the speedway for the final trophy dash of the evening. The sprints. And the fastest cars in qualifying. These are the third in the fifth quickest.
Woo, look at that. Woo. Okay, there you have it. That was the last Strawberry Cup we'll ever go to at Western Speedway. They've had that race since, what did it say in there? The 60s it started? A long time ago. Anyways, thanks for watching. Today was a great day in the shop, working on the car, and then a nice evening at the Speedway. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out the website, lgspeedcustom.com. Check out the Cavaleros website, thecavaleros.com, and we'll see you on the next video.